Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly.
I thought, yo, this is my life. I have to go pro in Halo.
In my head, thought that was more efficient, and I guess I was right.
He was like the god. We would have to 2v1 like just to beat this guy. Like
I don't know, man. I was trying to reach in. You're like, oh, let's see you guys like
A lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey.
I love it.
Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly. I'm your host, ShyWay. And of course, this is your weekly destination for all things HCS. We got news, we got trick jumps, we've got interviews with some of the best players in the game. And of course, today we have Lunchbox. But before we get there, we've got a grassroots skin giveaway. We always have it, guys. Remember to type !grassroots in the chat. You can enter yourself in the giveaway. I think we have one skin this time, so let's see who it is. Hopefully it's a good battle out there in the chat. Of course, we've got our news to jump into first before we get into our interview. Let's jump into the news with MattyRums from NoobCombo.com. How's it going, Matty?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much, man. You said we were light on the news this week, apparently. Give me a bit of a rundown. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone's still recovering from E3, but we had a playlist update like usual, but it wasn't big. They added 3 new maps to Halo 2 Anniversary social playlist. They're Forge maps that were finalists and winners from a contest held by Forge Hub called Forge-tacular. The first one was called Epic, and that's by a chunk in Xandrith. Second map is Select by Knockyard, and the third one is called Heatstroke by Kell of Scots.
I'm going to ask a really dumb question. How built out is the H2A Forge mode? Is it actually like a good Forge mode? Can they make some viable competitive maps with it?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm pretty sure the contest was held a while ago.
Right.
So I guess they just looked into it, but I don't know. From the pictures, they look good. I haven't played it yet myself, but
because that's super interesting, right? The biggest issue that I've always heard with H2A is just the lack of maps in the game. You've got like 3 main competitive maps. If they could build out some cool Forge maps, I mean, this is something that should have happened a long time ago, but I don't know. That's cool to see that there's a contest. I didn't even know there was a fully fledged out like Forge mode in H2A, so that'd be pretty nice to see. I'll have to look into it, and of course, I guess I'll go to NoobCombo.com to do so because all the details are there, as you guys know. We have MCC community update as well. What do we got here?
Yeah, so the majority of the community update was an E3 recap and talked a little bit about Halo Outpost Discovery. But one of the big things that I saw that stuck out to me was, this is by Unashek. It says, if everything goes according to plan, our first flight for Halo Reach on PC will be next week to a small subsection of registered Halo insiders.
Okay.
And that was posted on the 20th, so this week.
Right, which is very exciting. Now, of course, fingers crossed, but they've kind of, they've given some details on potential release dates before, and that didn't quite follow through. So I've got my hopes up, but it could be a little bit longer, and that's okay. If it takes time, they got to get it perfect. But it's nice to see that we're getting a bit of an update here. They've been quiet, right? Like since E3, we had the Halo Infinite trailer. We've got, like Halo Master Chief Collection looked great from the little snippet. We got the little campaign like feature, but we haven't seen any multiplayer since E3. It's kind of been simmering down. I would love to see it make a comeback. So hopefully that follows through. Hopefully we get some, but we won't get to see that, right? That's going to be underground. Like it's not like they're going to be posting that on their Twitch page or something, right?
No, it won't be. You won't be seeing anything like that. But I'm sure there's like in the rules it says you can't put it out. But it is a small group. So they mentioned in the past that it's going to start out real small, and then the groups will get bigger and bigger. So don't be too upset if you didn't get picked.
Right. Hoping everything goes well. I've actually been playing some Apex Legends on PC, trying to get ready. At this point, I'm fiending, man. Like I just want to know what it's like to play Halo on PC.
I think PUBG is a good way to start.
PUBG?
With mouse and keyboard, because it's kind of slower. So
yeah.
I feel like PUBG is a good starter game.
To be honest,
to get comfortable with mouse and keyboard.
Maybe I'm kind of weird in that I don't want to play against people right away. I just want to grind the mechanics of using a mouse and keyboard until it feels like breathing for me, basically. Like I spent probably like 2 hours in the target range in Apex, which sounds freaking ridiculous, but I tried out every weapon. I was trying it while sliding and jumping at like specific angles and learning about the mechanics and like how to anyway. I was trying to figure out how to cancel cooldown on things, and I spent like way too much time just in the target range. But we have June and July Halo 5 calendar updates as well. What do we have here?
Yeah, so they listed which playlists they're rotating through for June and July, but two that stuck out to me was Husky Raid, which is a new playlist.
Okay.
It should be on June 27th. And then they're bringing back Halo 3 Classic Throwback, but they're making it ranked. And that starts on July 2nd.
I've seen Husky Raid before. What is that? That's like
I don't even
you don't know.
know.
There's like 2 bases. There's like one on each side, and you fly at each other into like some sort of a divot. It's like a massive pit, and you have like Fiesta style weapons, and you just go at it. It's just a straight like a lane. It's a 1-lane battle. I think that's what it is.
Is it a Slayer?
If that's what it is, it's pretty nuts. It's wild. It's like a Slayer.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's like 4v4, and it's just one tight lane, a corridor, and you just fly at each other
Just
with
go
like
nuts,
Fiesta weapons. Yeah, and there's like Anyway, I'm sure we'll see when they have it up. So July 2nd or June 27th. Okay, so very soon. Face It, Ignite, free agent and partial team list. What's this?
So 2 guys that are big in the European Halo community, Prisma TV and MK Viable Manatee.
Okay.
They both have done work with like Nightfall and Europa Halo. They created a free agent list for anyone going to Ignite in London. So it has free agents, has partial team list, it has full team list, and has all player information as far as like their names and everything.
Awesome.
So if you're interested, you can go to twitter.com/PRSMATV, and he has it pinned to the top.
Awesome. So great. Like there's so many, that's what I love to see is there's so many people who are so passionate about Halo to the point where they're creating these unique services to try to get people together, to get teams going. And this is just one of many things. I know there's like that stream features thing that I've seen as well, where you can like find yourself in specific Halo streams, all these unique ways to kind of, build out the Halo community. So this is a great opportunity if you're a free agent to grab a team and to get ready for Face It that's coming up this summer. It's the biggest event of the summer. We have the Halo Bowl 3 results as well. This is the one that we missed out on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm disorganized. What do we got?
It took place on Saturday, I believe. It was a 4v4 tournament with members from all different Halo podcasts: Drunken Halo, Podtacular, Podcast Evolved, HCS Pro Talk, Halo Conversationalists, and Gaming Under Fire. They raised $4,500, which is great because their goal was $4,000. It benefited Gamers Outreach, so it was enough to build another gaming go-kart. Mm-hmm. And Mudcat hosted and streamed it on mixer.com/Mudcat, so big thanks to him because it was a long event.
Awesome. So it's not just a tournament, it's a charity initiative as well. So there's so much happening there that we should have been a part of, and that is 100% my fault, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get into the next Halo Bowl. Hopefully they have them more often. And,
they seem to do it. They do it every year. So
every year. Okay. Well, I mean, hopefully we can get in a couple more, and we'll see what happens. Halo Project Basil is recruiting as well. We got more Halo stuff. What's
Brazil. This? Project Brazil.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Project Brazil. This is what happens when I read the news for the first time, guys. I'm literally just coming into this just fresh at face value. Brazil. Project Brazil recruiting. What do we got?
Yeah, so they put on online tournaments, for the Latin American region. They're looking for, I guess, staff members, specifically social media managers, YouTube editors and creators, as well as authors and editors for the website. And you can apply at haloprojectbrazil.com, but it's Brazil, Brasil.
Perfect. So
hopefully you speak, I think it's Portuguese. Hopefully you understand it because it's not in English.
Okay. So a couple of prerequisites required there.
Yeah.
Tournament results as well for the week. What do we have here? Project Brazil has a tournament recently.
They're continuing their championship seasons. They had a Halo 5 free-for-all. First place went to Glazed. I don't know how to pronounce that. Second place.
Try either.
Yeah, second place was Dark Camus VR, and third place was ZZ Doug.
Nice.
Next up, we had SWAT Nation had their summer SWAT off. It was a 3v3 with random teammates with a $500 prize pool. First place was Ashley's Avocados, which was BXR, Days, Doodle DHP, and NSG Cereal. Second place was Humidititties, which was Triant, Switch 5S, and Goville.
Humidititties. Yeah. Sweet.
Always some interesting names.
Yeah.
And then third place was Ponchita's OJ, which was Supersonic, Fireboy Jet, and Legends.
Nice. It's great to see the SWAT Nation tournament still continuing. These are just they keep coming in. They've got a schedule for these.
Every
things.
time they
one
host
finishes,
one, they
the
announce
next
another one.
Exactly. I love that. So we're going to continue getting SWAT Nation tournaments. I think they're getting a Halo 3 one is the next actually.
That's
And
what
it's
they
like
announced, yeah.
right. I think is a $1,000 prize pool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So right now it's $1,000. It still can go up.
Right. So that's pretty incredible, guys. Halo 3 SWAT. I have not seen an H3 SWAT tournament forever, and for $1,000, we can expect some pretty good players popping in just for the day.
Yeah.
So it could be pretty cool. Skirmish Pro Halo 3 4v4 results. What's this?
Yeah. So this was held Saturday night as well, but it was late at night. Started at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
It was had an $800 prize pool. First place went to Yerp, which was Tusk, Boobadooboo, Falcated, and APG. Second place was Sage Esports, which is Cloud, Ryan Noob, Commonly, and Goofy. And third was GMS with Gabriel, Fantasy, Trippy, and Shelly.
Awesome. A lot of really good players here.
Yeah, it was kind of, I think a lot of them found out about it last minute because I saw like Aries tweet about it and then Snipe Down commented that he didn't even know. So,
Right.
But had a good showing for the little recognition it got.
You can also tell by the teams, like the way the teams are formed, like Gabriel, Fantasy, Shelly, Trippy, Boo Boo, Falcon, APG. Like it's like everybody's just kind of like, yeah, let's squat up and then jump into this $800 tournament. Yeah. So awesome to see that. Events this week. We've got more events coming up.
Yeah, Saturday is pretty stacked. If you live in the Philadelphia area, there's the Philly Esports 2v2 at the University City Science Center in Philadelphia. Also Saturday is SWAT Nation's Hot and Poundy's Rampage 3v3.
Okay.
And Saturday as well, if you're in the EU region, Nate Strait is hosting a Halo 5 FFA.
Frenzy.
And yeah, FFA Frenzy. Not to be confused with Europa Halo. They both happen to pick the same name, ironically, coincidentally.
Right.
But
okay.
Two separate events, but they're both EU only. And then Sunday, June 30th, if you live near Arlington, Texas, at the Esports Stadium, the last hit Halo 3 2v2.
Right. So multiple events happening just this weekend alone. All of these, on a smaller scale, but some great ways to continue to compete, to get yourself into the scene, to get some experience, build some relationships. Right. So all great to see. And it's happening around the world, too. It's not just specifically in the U.S., which is so nice. And by the way, Matty, I didn't mention this. We just kind of jumped right into the news. How are you doing, man? I don't think you were with me last week. And I'm getting is this your audio, the feedback that I'm getting? Is that the fan?
No, I don't have a fan. I don't know.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe my headphones.
I know. I hear it, too. So.
Okay.
But
we'll figure it out.
I just bought a house, so I've been running around like crazy. I had a leak in the basement last week, so I had to make a trip to the hardware store. And now I'm in a room that has nothing in it, which is why there's an echo. Yeah. But I did get a rug, so slowly and surely, it'll dwindle down.
Well, congrats, man. I'm glad you're getting settled. It's nice to have you back for the news. I had to scramble through it solo, and I was frozen, too. My connection was, I don't know what's going on.
I watched the VOD.
Yeah. So thank you for being back and sharing the news with me once again, man. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, me too.
No problem.
See you then.
See you around. That'll close our news, and, of course, we got our trick jump of the week. Apparently, we have multiple trick jumps today. What do we got, Clearly? Clearly, I think I messed up your name there.
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man?
Oh, we got 3 jumps on cold storage today, not just 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah. All right. So, after my long intro, we'll begin. All right. So, this one here, you can stand up on top of the sledge and hit a little edge ghost here. Slide up into that pillar, and you can kind of glide yourself away across the top of the flood there and land up on top of the door. Which, with that one jump alone, there's about 3 different spots that you can be into. You can be in this pillar, chill in the pillar, or you can sit up here where the flood is, or you can jump on top of the door. So there's a lot of really good vantage points with that spot. The next one, they both have the same goal. You can jump on top of the teleporter here and jump into the window. I'm not really sure exactly what the call out is. I know that's called sunroom. I don't know if that's referred to as sun bridge or just power drain. I'm not sure. But 2 different ways to get up to the bridge there.
If possible, can you show me the first one once again? And I'm sorry to interrupt this, guys. Tony, I'm getting a bit of a feedback in my ear. You're getting that too, right? Clearly, it's like no, you're not. I'm just getting like, is it my earbuds or something? It sounds like there's like a fan blowing into my ears.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting any feedback. I'm solid.
All right, if you're solid, that's perfect, man. I guess I'll just deal with it. I don't know. I missed the first one because of it. I tried to message Tony, but we'll just this is it right here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's multiple things going on in this. Like you've hit multiple areas of that wall. If you could give me a bit of a breakdown of what's happening there.
So it starts off with a etch ghost right there. And there's about 3 good vantage points that you can be in with this. That pillar where I'm jumping from now is a good vantage point, as well as this area that I'm jumping on now, where I called like the flood area of this jump, which is a solid vantage point. But the last landing spot is the top of the door here, which is the ultimate spot to be. You get a better view of the room, more areas to see. But
now, of course, you said that you combined one of these into a clip as well.
Yeah, the second part of this clip here, I showed 2 different ways to get up to Sunbridge or Power Drain. And I sent a clip to Tony of me actually using it in matchmaking. But this is the first way up there. You can jump on top of the teleporter and then get up to the bridge.
Right.
Or you can jump up on top of this little lip here, jump off the window, jump off the door, and get into the bridge. Which that's the clip I got in matchmaking.
All right. Because none of it matters till it happens in matchmaking, right?
Yeah, right here. Come up behind this guy and
nice.
Flop. So it becomes useful. And I literally sat in the game waiting for a good moment to do this just so I can have a clip. That's why I have 7 kills.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just so you know.
That's why.
It's just to demonstrate.
You're trying your heart out and you got 7 kills, right?
Yeah, definitely trying my heart out, as you can obviously see. No, yeah, I was just sitting in that room waiting for the red dots on my radar to roll around that bridge so I can nail the clip. It took a while. Yeah, but it's a good demonstration of its usefulness. Nobody is going to expect you to jump through any of those 2 slots there, whether you're jumping off from the teleporter or jumping off from the door.
I love it, man. And thank you for the clip to just kind of add to that to showcase how it's useful as well. Of course, all of these jumps you're working on all the time. There's a community associated with that as well. Let's get some shout outs for that community.
I will be posting links on Twitch and on Mixer to a Discord server I created completely dedicated to the trick jumping community. You can go there, you can ask questions, request help. We have game nights. You can post your content there. A lot of fun stuff there. And again, I will be posting that on Twitch and on Mixer after my segment is over. If you want to watch any of my clips that you see here today or in the future, that's going to be Twitter at MCC Trick Jumps and also YouTube at MCC Trick Jumps. Also, Alexander, I want to let you know too. I have that community project I'm working on, and then also that solo project. The solo project I'm actually probably going to be releasing here very shortly after I get a couple more clips, because there's a Halo 3 montage contest currently rolling, and I want to submit and hopefully win. So I might be plopping that video out a little earlier than expected.
Wait, so this is the one that you said we're waiting till next year for? Mm-hmm. This is, you're going to jump into a contest instead?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to put it out early and roll the dice and see what happens.
You know what? This is good because sorry if I interrupted you. I was saying it's good because we're otherwise we'd be talking about it every week until next year, and it'd be like kind of getting redundant, right? Yeah. So I want to see it, man. I'm getting excited. So looking forward to when that happens. Of course, when's that coming up? The montage contest?
So the montage contest, it's run on a page on Twitter called Halo 3 Community. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Halo 3 Community. So Twitter at Halo 3 Community. They're running a $600 contest. It's $350 to the first place winner, and I believe $150 to the second, and then $100 to the third.
Perfect.
But they just made a post the other day saying if we get 100 likes or 100 retweets, we'll up the prize pool to 1,000. Nice. So kind of gave me extra initiative to try to push the video out, see if I can win something.
Try to make some money and get some viewers as well. I like it, man. Great having you come by with the trick jumps every week. I'm looking forward to what you have for next week as well. Thank you for joining me once again.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right, that closes our news and trick jump for the week. Of course, we have our interview with an absolute legend in competitive Halo, the other half of the Roybox duo. I'm excited to welcome Lunchbox to HCS Weekly.
How we doing, guys?
Good, man. Nice to see you. How you been?
Been doing good. Been staying busy. Just waiting for the next Halo event.
Right, but for you, it's not just about competing anymore, right? Because you've got a job now, you've got a wife, you've got all these responsibilities. So, like, have you been playing Halo since the last tournament? What have you been up to?
I've been on a little bit of a hiatus since last event. The grind is always exhausting for me after an event. Just the weeks leading up to it, we're practicing quite a bit, and I'm really focusing a lot on playing at that point. So it's nice after the events to take a couple weeks off or whatever, just to kind of reset my mind. It's definitely necessary for me to want to keep competing, to have a little bit of time off and reset.
Absolutely. I mean, because you're working like a 40-hour-a-week job and jumping into the Halo as well. Is that how you manage it? Well, I think last time I checked in, or last time I looked up what you were doing, it was electrician apprentice.
Yeah, I've topped out now, so I'm a journeyman. So
okay.
Yeah, just more responsibility for me in that regard at work. So
right.
It's mainly, it's a grind for me, but I enjoy it. I enjoy competing at Halo, and when I had the opportunity to come back, I didn't really hesitate. I really enjoyed the team that we were able to put together with Snipe Down and Pistol and my brother. So it's been a lot of fun since we've been back, and it's been nice to be playing a game that's so old and people still enjoy playing.
And everybody loves seeing you back as well, especially going and winning the HCS Invitational, also just getting another W and just seeing the pop-offs too with like Roy and Snipe Down, and all of you guys have the personality that so many people have been like absent. A lot of people feel like that personality has been absent from competitive Halo for so long. So having you guys come back and bring the hype is always exciting. And what do you think of Reciprocity as well, working with Reciprocity? I've just been following some of your Twitter. You retweeted, apparently they had like a bit of an event recently, some sort of a 2v2. Tony has the tweet you can show. What's this? The staff gauntlet.
Yeah, this was pretty entertaining. I was able to catch a little bit of it, but Kyle and Martin, who've both been around Halo for a long time, and then Mark, who I don't know too well, but he's Reciprocity Management, and then Chad, who owns Reciprocity, had a 2v2 in different Halos, and I think Kyle and them ended up coming out on top in Halo 1, and then Martin or Chad and them ended up coming out on top on Halo 2. I don't know what the final tally was, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't Kyle in the lead, because Kyle's pretty good at most Halo, or pretty much every Halo. So
yeah, he went out of his way to write a disclaimer saying he's not good anymore.
I saw that.
Just
he tried to soften the blow if he did somehow happen to lose, but I don't think he ended up losing.
yeah, it's really nice to see what Reciprocity is doing. It seems like they're being led by a team of just like genuine Halo fans, and it looks like they're also buying houses as well. I saw another tweet from you where you're like, "When can I move in?" This Rainbow Six. Look at this house, guys.
Yeah, it's incredible. I watched this video of the house revealed or whatever, and it's got a nice pool and a super sweet inside. So what's not to like about this one?
I mean, yeah, if you go inside, which he will in a sec, it kind of looks like a castle or something. There's like some royal looking couches. Like, look at the picture.
The EG house was nice, but it didn't have an in-ground pool in the backyard. You know what I mean?
Right. See, when I see this, I just think of the dream where Halo comes back, and instead of a Rainbow Six house, this is a Halo house or even bigger. This can definitely happen, man.
Yeah, the Halo's popularity is definitely it has been untapped for a while. It's just haven't had a game that the fans have really got behind. So I think if they can make a game with Halo Infinite that kind of draws the crowd back in, I think something like that's certainly possible for Halo based on the popularity that it had 2005 and onwards.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree, man. I think, like you said, 2005 onwards, Halo kind of started, not just MLG, but started FPS esports in a way too. Like, it was just one of the founders in that regard. It's just so, it was so massive at that time. So what I want to do, like I do with everybody, is we go all the way back to the beginning of where things began for you, because I know you've been here for such a long time. Today, you're a multi-time competitive Halo champion. You're the mind behind the Roybox duo. But where did it all begin? How did you first get into Halo?
Yeah, so we started with Halo 1. We played with friends. We got into it. Our coach now, Keegan, his gamer tag is Nagik, but his older brother, played Halo 1, and basically us three would play him and another friend in 3v2. Me, Roy, and Keegan versus his older brother and another older friend.
Okay.
So it was a 3-on-2, and they would beat us bad for a little while, until we got to know the game and figure out how to play. But from there, we just pretty much land nonstop with friends around here, and Justin and I began to excel and ended up going to some local tournaments and whatnot at the local movie theater on the big projection screen, which was terrible for any sort of competitive integrity, but a lot of fun back then. Is just able to test the waters on how good we were compared to everybody else in our area, and we ended up winning pretty much all of them that we brought our team to, and kind of the rest is history. Ended up going to our first event in Charlotte 07, but prior to that, we were supposed to go to Chicago 05 and 06, but I think Roy and I got into a big argument or fight before 05 or 06, and the other one had another teammate bail on us. So we went through the same teammate woes as what you hear a lot of the amateur players now trying to come up complain about, just finding consistent teammates and people that you mesh well with that you can perform your best with. So
Right.
We had those same issues back in 2005 and 6.
Right. Is it something about getting beat badly when it's a 3v2 that really just kind of sparks the interest to get on the grind, like to get serious? I mean, Halo in general is just fun to play, but it's like just the fact that you're getting beaten, it's like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? How do I improve?
Oh, yeah. We were all super competitive, and the fact that we were losing 3-on-2, we all knew, we can't allow this to happen for much longer. But we would play like all rockets, DTF on Blood Gulch.
Okay. Like
a lot of like nothing. We didn't play the competitive settings when we first started playing, but all shotties, Sharon, capture the flag, and stuff like that. A lot of, I mean, I don't know if there hasn't been a Halo since Halo 1 that I could play for as long and with a group of friends that we just have the most fun, and Halo 1 was that game for me.
Oh yeah.
I've loved other Halo since, and obviously Halo 2, Halo 3, rounding out my top 3, but Halo 1 was the game that made me fall in love with Halo.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was nothing like it at the time too. So it was so new. And like you said about the local tournaments, I know you guys are both so modest about everything, but apparently you didn't just win a couple, you won like 23 straight in a row. Like I was doing some research, and is that true? You won like 23 of them before you actually started to hopping into real competitive events. Apparently this is on a big movie screen, like you said.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't remember
if you win?
Yeah, so we each got 2 free movie tickets. So we just give them to my parents. They would let us go every single week, and we were young at the time. We were 14, 13 years old. It's somewhere around there. We were young teens. But yeah, we get 2 free movie tickets, and we won quite a few in a row. I don't remember. I don't know if it ever got to the 20s, but because we didn't always take there was 3 of us that were standouts, me, Justin, and then one other guy. So we would be the 3 to go, and whenever we wanted. When we found that roster, that's what we went with for a while, and we won them all, and then we'd switch it up because it got to the point where the competition wasn't as close. But yeah, it was a lot of fun back then. The movie theater screens were laggy as hell, as you might expect, and tough to play on. But that was what we had back then. We didn't have the setups that we have nowadays. That was kind of the beginning of it all with the tournaments.
And does something like movie tickets do anything to convince your parents to go to events like Charlotte? Like, how do you get that done? Like, you show them a couple movie tickets, they probably don't believe that you're good yet, right?
Right. Charlotte was the do or die event for us. If we didn't get, I think top 8 was a $400 stipend, and if we didn't get top 8, we would not have been going to any more events. We weren't going to fork out. Both Justin and I have worked. I mean, we had newspaper route when we were in our, I don't remember when we started it, but 10, 11 years old, and then got part-time jobs when we were 15, and then
That's
again
so
when we were
young to be
16.
working.
So yeah, my
10
dad
years
always
old,
instilled.
newspaper rep?
My dad always instilled that in us, that you got to work for what you want. So
That's awesome.
that's one of the best life lessons I think I've ever been taught, because it allows me nowadays to be able to work a full-time job and play Halo, and just kind of appreciate, time management and all that, and just what it takes to make money. I'm all about the grind, and I've enjoyed competing for so long, and if you want it bad enough, you can make it work, even working full time. And I was working full time and going to class and competing Halo, competing in Halo 5. So I think it definitely didn't help me in Halo 5. It wasn't my best game, individually, but I couldn't grind it as much as some of the younger guys, and whether that would have mattered or not, who knows? But it certainly didn't. I don't think help my cause. But yeah, it's been a long time coming for Justin and I. I've been competing for a long time now, and it all started in a big movie theater.
Yeah, but I like that your dad instilled that in you from such a young age, because that's a huge thing. Like, you have such a good mindset towards it, where it's like, if I work hard enough, it doesn't matter if I've got a job, if I've got responsibilities, I can still compete, I can still be at the top of my game. And you've proved that, especially with Halo 3 now. And I think you said in a recent interview, thankfully it's Halo 3. You played it for years, so you don't have to play quite as much as you might have with like Halo 5, where so much of it was so new.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's such a great mindset to have, because so many people can get bogged down by other responsibilities and think, oh, it's impossible. Other people can play 8 to 10 hours. What am I going to do? But if you want it badly enough, just go get it, man.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of it too is just kind of making the time you have matter. Like, don't get online and just screw around for your first hour or two. Like, the first game I play in Halo 3, I'm trying and warming up, and then if we have a scrim that night, I try and get on 30 minutes or so early so that I can, at least get some shots in and run around massive before I jump right into a scrim against one of the best teams. So I've always tried to keep that mindset of making my time count when I'm practicing, especially now when time is more important to me. I have less of it.
Right. You start to think really critically about the time that you have when you have less of it, I guess, right?
Sure, yeah.
Productive. Right. So eventually you ended up at your first event in Charlotte. Like you said, it was in 2007. It could have been earlier, but you guys you got in a fight or something? Roy said he broke his disc.
He broke his disc one time. It's hard telling with him. He had a...
How's that punishment?
He had anger issues as a little kid. He punched. There was many holes that my dad had to patch in our house growing up. That if I beat him in 1v1 and I talked any bit of crap, he was punching a hole in something.
Oh my gosh!
A door. So yeah, he had anger issues when we were younger. He couldn't handle losing to me. Let's put it that way.
This makes me think of that. And the only 1v1 I have to go off of is the YouTube one in Halo 5, where you get one kill on him and he's already goes from 0 to 100, and just like one kill in the Halo 5 one, you see it in his face and everything.
I mean, it goes for me too, but
I'm sure. But you were on the
punch balls, but I don't like losing him either. Let's put it that way. We'll put it blunt.
Yeah, you know how to kind of keep a cap on it. This kind of goes into your name a little bit too, because where did the name Lunchbox come from?
Lunchbox was a name that I don't know how. Well, I guess I do know. It came from Jay and Silent Bob. They weren't that clever to come up with a nickname on their own, my brothers. But we all loved that movie when we were younger, and they ended up calling me Lunchbox because I was chubby. So that's kind of how it all started. And then I don't know, just kind of stuck when we had to come up with gamer tags. When we started competing, we went through a bunch of gamer tags before we actually started competing seriously. So this is one that I think was one of my first ones, and then we would switch it up, and then this is what I ended up going with when we first started competing at the bigger tournaments.
You just decided to embrace it, I guess.
Yeah, embrace it. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know Jay and Silent Bob, I actually didn't know. I can't believe I didn't know about them, but I did some research. We got a quick clip that we can play just so you guys can get some context. Play it up, Tony.
Balls compared to the quick stop. Speaking of licking balls, man, how about that Justice chick? She is too fine. And she smells so fucking pretty. She has a nice voice, too. And that body, fucking smoking. You know, she didn't tell me to fuck off once when I was talking to her, or pull out the fucking pepper spray or anything. You know, Lunchbox? She could be the one.
Yeah, so Lunchbox, she could be the one. It's right at the end there. Something that's really interesting is I looked at from Roy's interview how he came up with his name versus how you came up with yours, and how the names that you guys chose kind of shaped your eventual Halo careers. I don't know if you ever thought of that, but Roy, the choice for his name came from the "Roy's Our Boy" chant, which if you think about it, it's like Roy's our boy. This is it's kind of him almost envisioning being in the center, in the spotlight, and people chanting his name, and you know what I mean, kind of exploding in that regard. Lunchbox is Silent Bob. You can't have
Right.
Jay and Silent Bob without Silent Bob. He's a fundamental part of the duo. But he chooses. I don't know if he chooses. I haven't seen the show, but he just lets it be. He's quiet. He lets Jay talk and take the spotlight. And that's kind of how you guys have operated, where it's like Roy's our boys, the forefront, and you're content with being Lunchbox and letting Roy go ahead and get the kills and whatever, but doing what you need to do to get the W. Is that kind of how you feel about it?
Yeah, I've never thought about it that way, but I would say that's a fairly accurate representation. He's kind of always been in the spotlight because he pulls off the flashier plays. I mean, in Halo 3, he had the best shot in my opinion. So he always he put up big numbers throughout our entire Halo 3 careers, won some MVPs. So I just kind of flew under the radar, and eventually later on in our Halo careers, I got more recognition. I think I was voted best overall player in Halo 2 anniversary, but yeah, typically he got the spotlight, which was totally fine with me. I honestly don't really care too much about the individual accolades. Yeah, it's more about just getting the win. Nobody really, the MVPs and stuff are obviously super nice, but those are more they make you don't get known as much for your MVPs. It's more to me winning as a team and your tournament wins. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a very selfless mindset to have, actually. And it's something that we're going to harken to again a little bit later. Let's talk about how this career began, though. So you started it off at MLG Charlotte 2007. You're a member of 5K alongside Fear Itself and Hokum, kicking things off with a strong fourth place finish. Like you said, it was ride or die. You had to do pretty well. And fourth place is well enough to, I think, get some money so you could come back into it. However, Roy told me, I got that already about the story. So you then followed that up with Charlotte. It was fifth place in Charlotte, you followed up Charlotte with fifth place in Meadowlands, fourth place in Dallas, fifth in Chicago, fifth in Vegas. So in a short time, you'd already proven that you were a strong force in competitive Halo, and that only intensified in Halo 3 in 2008, where those fourth and fifth places became second and third placements, consistently placing in the top three until 2010, where a crucial team change, adding Cloud and Elamite back to the roster, landed you guys your first victory at MLG Orlando 2010. We're going to play up some MLG Orlando 2010 in the background with no audio. Tell me a bit about this experience of Halo 3, like MLG at the time for you, of course, finally getting that win after all these second, third place, placements. And then just recognizing that you're part of something so huge and exciting. Like, what was your relationship with Halo at the time? Did you see it as a career path?
Yeah, I think starting in 2008, MLG always took care of Justin and I and the teams that we were on. We were sponsored by Old Spice. Basically, the sponsorships worked back in the day. Just MLG would pick who they wanted to represent the brands interested in becoming or coming into Halo. So MLG always took care of Justin and I. Thankfully, we were sponsored by Old Spice for a couple of seasons. I was sponsored by Stride. He was sponsored by Dr. Pepper. So it became where apparent to us that we could make a pretty good career out of this for a time anyway. So that we had, I think, 2 or 3 second place finishes before Orlando 2010. So finally getting this win was huge for us. It was kind of getting over that hump of second place that we hadn't done yet. And this team that we put together with Cloud and Elamite, we kind of clicked right from the start, and we grinded, and I think it showed. We ended up faltering towards the end of our team's lifespan here in the end of 2010, but that was also going against a really good FB team with Pisola, Ogre 2, Victory, and Fear. So, yeah, this was a huge milestone for us to win our first one. I think it kind of changes your mindset once you know that you can. We always thought we could win. We thought we had the potential to do it, but until you actually do it, I think it does change your mindset maybe just a little bit.
Right. That's kind of like an important click in your brain where it's like, instead of saying we are capable of this, it's we have achieved it. It's a goal that you've reached. So it's just about continuing to follow up on that, right? You already know, you've proven to yourself, I guess, that you can be that number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's kind of where this success led to the creation of Roybox, right? You became this big duo, force to be reckoned with. It's not just about the Ogre twins anymore. You guys have taken the spotlight, and then especially Roy, whose playstyle got him some of the MVP MLG awards. But people were starting to wonder how you were so good. And in the interview with Chris Puckett, Roy had some nice words to share about your role in the team. Let's check out that moment right there.
Roy, break down Lunchbox's game. Lunchbox, break down Roy.
Lunchbox is just like Walsh said, one of the most selfless players in the game. He does all the dirty work and does whatever it takes, and that's why I usually get the glory. But without him, I wouldn't be half the player I am, and I feel like without me, he wouldn't be half the player that he is. So I just feel like our play styles complement each other perfectly for Halo 3 in particular.
Well, it's definitely.
Okay, first of all, where are your eyes in that?
I was about to say the same thing, dude. How much hair did I have?
I can't see your eyes. Like, how did you see the screen? You must have had.
Yeah, it's even more impressive that I was competing at Halo,
right,
against the best without being able to see, hidden behind my eyes or hidden behind my hair.
I think when you shook your head, I saw your eyes for a split second. Your hair flipped up, and then it came right back over.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I was thinking back then, but I guess we all have those younger years, questionable appearance choices.
Yeah, for sure. And so what do you think that means, I guess, being the most selfless player on the team?
Yeah, I mean, there was many times in Halo 3 especially that Justin had good opportunities to part ways with me. He got, I think, one of the better offers was to go to TD. I remember Mason, Hysteria, SK, and Justin maybe was an option that got thrown out for him. And he always stuck by my side, and especially probably in those years, I wasn't considered a top 1 or 2 player. But as soon as we started winning, all that changes. It's all based on kind of your placings, and my stats weren't going to show that I was a top 1 or top 2 player, because I just never in those games put up the big stats. I never got the snipers that often, but I mean, I've always feel like I was able to go off with them when I got them. There's a few times I remember a Guardian ball game in particular where I kept hitting snipes, and you get one pick on Guardian ball and you're going to keep your setup usually because it's you get numbers right off of that one snipe. But anyways, yeah, he always stuck by my side, and he always gave me a lot of credit about being a selfless player. But he deserved just as much as me, because he was putting up the big numbers, and he never missed. So yeah, it's something that I whatever I have to do to help the team win has always kind of been my mindset. And I it's even now, if with this team that I have, I'm confident that any of my teammates are going to cover me if I'm running a flag or if I'm getting in hills. So I feel very confident, and I feel like my awareness is super high when I am running flags and when I am in hills. So I feel like when I'm in those positions, I'm helping give our team the best chance to win those games.
Yeah, literally, as you're mentioning this, I'm thinking of all the plays that I did get a chance to see it. I wish I played here, because your flag runs were incredible when they showed in the thank you Roy and Lunchbox video. It's just the quality is so bad, but it would go from Roy's shots and then it would switch over to you, and you would hit these incredible flag runs to close the game. Where if you were off by a frame, you wouldn't have got that in. That would have been a stop flag right there. So some pretty incredible moments. I was wondering. Is there something kind of different about how you would practice, or the way that you saw the game, that kind of differs from most Halo players, when it's more like, oh, I want to have a better shot or a better individual skill than somebody, but maybe you saw Halo in kind of a different light, like, okay, so how can our team kind of set up strategically in this situation, or what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I was definitely always more interested in the bigger picture.
Right.
And some players would watch film and they would pick out an individual battle that somebody lost, and Justin would do it too.
Right.
I've done it, before as well, probably, but I would typically try and come up with one individual battle. To me, is never going to win or lose a game. If you lose a battle for 50-49, that lost you the game. But how many other plays led up to that 49-49 situation? Could we have played it better? So it's easy to pick and point blame at one battle and deflect the blame to put it on one person's shoulders. But I've never been a fan of that. Typically, that's just going to create hostility, and it's never good for the team. So if you can avoid doing that and just try and watch film and actually come up with what setups did we have that worked? When did we go on this 7-kill deficit and stuff like that? I think is good to look at in a game, but it's certainly tough to do that sometimes. If you lose a close flag game where somebody lost an individual battle they should have won at the end of the game, but again, it's those battles are going to happen. It's you're not going to win every single battle, even the ones that you probably should. So, I think it's just good to try and focus on the bigger picture when you're going over film or even just going over stuff after practice when you're playing with your full team. So that's kind of always been how I've tried to approach it.
And it's something that's especially true in Halo 3 as well, right? Because just the power of one individual player isn't as much as, let's say, a guy in Halo 5 can do with all of his abilities. In Halo 3, your ability to work with your team is just so crucial. So understanding that bigger picture is huge, and not always being fixated on whether or not you won that one individual battle.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you guys continued onwards into Halo Reach, and when that rolled around, you continued to achieve new heights as a competitive player, forming what was known as the God Squad at the time, with yourself, Roy, Ogre 2, and Ola. And apparently this became one of the most devastating rosters in competitive Halo. It was like you guys were completely in sync. Ogre 2 actually shared his thoughts, and apparently he felt like he was one of the twins. Let's see what he said.
When those guys were performing at the top, man, it was unbelievable, the teamwork that we had. I felt like Dan wasn't on the team, but I felt like I was part of that duo again, and it was I was like the triplet, I guess Cowie's got claim to that, but between the four of us, it was like quadruplets plus an Ola. Like, how do you beat that? It's a lot of teamwork. That's a lot of teamwork.
Never claimed that neck beard.
The 2 times we.
So. Take me through a bit of the experience on that squad, because it sounds like it was kind of bittersweet in a way, because the stats on paper throughout Halo Reach was like the glory days for you guys. You were absolutely destroying the competition. But then later on, unfortunately, Halo's path was kind of taking a downward spiral as an esport, and things kind of started to crumble with the release of Halo 4. Tell me a bit about that whole God Squad experience. Seems like a big moment for you.
Yeah, I would say that, as far as my favorite teammates I've ever teamed with, it would be Ola, Eric, and Ogre 2. And Tom, during that time, we just clicked so well with him. We just, our mindsets were the same. Our practices were so, they were just so useful. We would accomplish a lot and actually work on stuff, whereas a ton of the teams I had in the past, mainly like Halo 5 and stuff, some of the guys just, you go through the motions every night of practice, but nobody's actually learning anything. Nobody's actually trying to better themselves as a player. It's all just, a lot of guys just don't have the mindset that I had for so many years,
right,
that I team with in Halo 5 in particular. But I think it's just such a good mindset to have, where everybody's coming to practice. To me, it's just such a waste of time to do anything different, to come to practice and not give it your full effort and focus on any mistakes you could be making. I remember one time specifically that we made a top player quit out in an online scrim. I think it might have been TJ.
Okay.
We spawn rocketed him like 4 times on Sanctuary in H2A. Like, he literally was on spawn for 4 spawns in a row.
Oh my god.
We were just, our team was super good at the time in Halo Reach, and it's unfortunate the game didn't have the popularity that the previous Halos had. But we definitely clicked on all cylinders with that team, and probably had the 2 arguably best players in the game with Ola and Justin. And I feel like that was one of my better Halos as well. So, and Tom just always, kind of like me, just fills in where he's needed. And me and Tom doing that with Justin and Ola slaying, we were pretty hard to beat for sure.
Yeah. And of course, it was TJ getting caught in the rocket loop there. And I'm sure he was very thankful to get to join you guys later and not have to deal with it for a little while, because H2A, you guys dominated.
Yeah, I think it was TJ. Don't quote me on it, but I vaguely remember it being TJ. But it was funny. Just, that was one of our better nights of scrimming. We were definitely playing well that night.
Right. So yeah, of course. So Halo 4 comes out, it goes through a bit of a dark period. What happened for you then? You kind of stepped away from Halo?
Yeah, Halo 4, the tournaments ended up becoming more like local events and stuff. So
Right.
for me, as soon as it became a point where I could not make a living off of it, essentially, I was going to move on and kind of move into the next step in my life. So that's ended up being what Justin and I did. I ended up going to one or two events with just pickup squads essentially, but
AGL.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, it was me, Ola, Kobe, and Sargoth, and we ended up getting I think third or fourth. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that the game didn't have the popularity it was, because I feel like I was really good at Halo 4 as well. But we went to that first event where people just had played the game before it had come out, so that God Squad team went into it with none of us really playing the game at all. So
Right.
we were getting killed by weapons we had never heard of, and routes that we had never seen on maps. So that was the only real event we had with that team. And again, yeah, it's just unfortunate because I feel like we would have been super good with that team in Halo 4 as well. But
Yeah.
just the popularity, the tournaments weren't there, so it was just time for me to hang it up at the time and move on.
Yeah, which definitely would have been devastating. But you guys made a pretty quick comeback, right? Because Halo 2 or H2A came around. You guys, not only did you prove that you still had what it took to compete, you came back with one of the most dominant performances ever in Halo. And there's this quote from Victory X as well. Apparently, this is when you became the better twin. Let's hear what he said.
Just fire the other team better put down the controllers because there's nothing they can do. It's true, man. Roy, he was a beast in Halo 3, beast in H2A. But I think Lunch actually took over in H2A, became the better twin. And, they've been dominating ever since.
In 2010,
And on top of that, we also have a quick overkill to showcase before I ask you about this. Let's show the overkill as well.
And then get the touch, and he touched it just a second too early. It didn't end up being punched in that situation, but had a member of Excellence poked out around that moment, he could have been taken down and given up rockets.
In comes Unlegit though, stops the cap. However, I think this is going to be EG putting one on the board. Rocket comes down, there's a big double kill, and there we go, Roy's brother. Will we see the trip? Yes, we do. Lunchbox cleaning up for the triple kill. Will he get the overkill? Yes, he does. Lunchbox destroying EX, kind of saying, guys, you had one flag, I've given you it. Four down now from Lunchbox, doing some damage with those rockets.
Now.
So what do you think? Did something start clicking at H2A that wasn't before, or were you always the better twin?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know. I just felt like everything did kind of click in that game for me. I feel like individually I was really good, and just my knowledge of the game was very high. I don't know that anybody knew the game better than me. I feel like I was just a very smart player in that game. So it was a lot of fun with the team that we had, because I feel like Eric was insane at that game, and so was Justin and TJ. So we just had a super good. Probably the best roster. Unfortunately, without Ola at the time, because he ended up injuring his hand. So it would have been nice to see what we could have done with Ola. But yeah, it was just it was a good team that we were able to ended up putting together after Ola hurt himself. So just glad that we had that chance to kind of put that string of events together, because it was a lot of fun to be a part of, honestly.
Right. I noticed at the time you and Towie were doing a lot of work together to try to create content as well. You had kind of a sanctuary like map tutorial on just how to play the map, how to control the map and spawns. What do you think?
Yeah, that was kind of at the beginning stage of Towie getting into the content game, and I think just kind of trying to figure out if there was a career in that, I guess, in Halo, because Halo was not at its most popular, but it was kind of on the rebound, I guess, at that point after Halo 4. But that's kind of where it all started with Towie kind of just testing the waters, and then it ended up evolving into the up to speeds or whatever that he did for EG. So I think those are pretty well received by pretty much everybody.
Yeah, it definitely led into some creative ideas. Of course, one of them was both of you guys playing on the exact same controller together. We saw that as the pre-roll. A cool thing about that is the whole narrative here is that apparently Roy has the better shot, but you have the better mind and the awareness, the objective play for the game. And when you watch these moments when you guys are playing on the same controller in Towie's video, it kind of looks true. Let's show the one where Roy's aiming first. I want to play it up. Isn't that it?
Well,
a little,
they
a
can't for that.
little passive. A little passive. I'm trying to clamber up on this because he's right above us.
Yeah, I know. There's multiple guys out here. Let's just get the fuck out. Like, why are we sticking out?
We were gonna push sneaky and push the one guy while the other guy came around us. We would have been out of there.
Get sandwiched?
Out of there.
You're fucking.
Yes, Tony, I'm not sure if you have it, if you do happen to have it, or you can get a little bit later. So the first one is on Regret, and it's just Roy like nailing a couple of shots, and then the next one is Empire, the very beginning of Empire, where Roy just runs into the fight and he can't figure out how to clamber. That's what I wanted to show, and it's just a perfect.
What are you doing? Oh my god!
He's so bad.
All right, I forgot I was controlling.
That's what I have.
I forgot I was controlling.
One of these is not.
If you keep it going, he tries to. He's like telling you to clamber, and he's the one. Yeah, right here. Look at this. Yeah, that's right here.
Bump, Justin. Jump off with clamber. What are you doing? It's to jump again. Are you fucking retarded? How do I have this on my team? I honestly have to play with this idiot. I have to play with this idiot.
I can't right now.
You just have to press the jump button a second time, and he's yelling at you to jump. Yeah.
He's not real bright sometimes.
Of course, you're bickering the whole time, and this has become a main staple of you as a duo. Is this how you've always been from the very beginning?
Oh yeah. We've always well, here's the funny side note. So like Ogre 2 and Ogre 1, I don't feel like ever had a rap of bickering. I mean, really nobody saw them bicker at tournaments, but at LANs they were as big of bickerers as Justin and I.
Really?
Yeah, they were super back and forth with each other. We went to one of the first LANs at their parents' house in Pickerington, and I mean, I remember the entire like drive there and everything. We were super excited because this was in 2007 when we were kind of still on the come up and having a chance to land with the Ogres and Walsh and Strongside was an insane opportunity. So, anyways, we get there and I think they were playing Exit Wounds the few days before, and then we were getting there, and then they were going to land us the next 3 or 4 days. But I remember getting there in the middle of one of their scrims against Exit Wounds, and Tom and Dan were just going back and forth on a lockout ball game, just just basically trying to go at each other and what they want to do in a certain situation. But
oh my god,
we Justin and I have always been the same. I feel like it's a kind of a brotherly thing, like we no filter with each other. We're able to say what we want to one another, and sometimes it's harsh, sometimes it's not, but typically it's harsh. But that's just it. Yeah, I mean, we're just at the end of the day, we still still family. We still love each other, so we get over it fast.
Yeah, and ultimately the objective is improvement, of course.
Exactly.
So you can get better. Now there was one moment. Okay, so specifically at LANs, though, apparently you guys can't even sit together as well. And we have footage of this, too. There's images. Tony, if you can throw up the pictures. You guys, is this specifically so that you don't bicker?
That is absolutely calculated, yeah. We typically don't want to sit right next to each other. Because he has, well, I'm sure I do, too, but, like, if he dies or if I die, we look at each other's screens. He does it the worst, though, where he'll see something I'm doing and shake his head, and then I want to grab his neck and shake his head in person. But yeah, we just, it's better for us to separate. Like I don't know. I feel like it's a good thing too, because we've played together for what, 15 years now, 10, 15 years. So I feel like I know what he's going to do in a lot of situations where somebody else, you wouldn't necessarily be able to predict his movement or his play. So I don't feel like we necessarily need to sit next to each other, but I would say that's also covering up the fact that we would just bicker too.
Yeah.
We just don't need to be sitting next to each other, because even at tournaments, if one of us sees a play that we don't agree with, we'll say something, whereas we probably shouldn't at a tournament. Just keep it all positive, you know.
Right. Last thing you want to do is negatively affect mindset, I guess. So you strategically have yourself. You have a player in between each other.
It's absolutely strategic, yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, following H2A, you had H25 with the Halo 5. That was a bit of a roller coaster. So it kicked off with some drama. You lost Lethal, but then there was this massive victory, the X Games gold medal, which we'll play up a bit of X Games in the background. How did this go? What did you feel about this moment here? I mean, winning would have been amazing after that.
Yeah, the X Game event is definitely probably top 2 or 3 wins for us, just because of this scenario with TJ. And it ended up working out, I mean, as good as anybody could have ever hoped for him with the team change. You know, after this, they ended up being one, you know, they still are one of the most dominant teams. But this win for us was rewarding, just to prove to him that, you know, he made a mistake at the time, but ended up obviously not being a mistake for him. He proved us wrong in the long run. But yeah, this was just the circumstances of being at X Games, and you know, with this team, we ended up picking up commonly last minute, because TJ ended up leaving fairly close to the deadline, so we didn't have a lot of time to find a teammate. But yeah, it's it's one of my fondest memories in Halo, I can tell you that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, it started off amazing. Unfortunately, Halo 5, like I said, a bit of a roller coaster. What did you think of the game kind of towards the end? Of course, you guys started to not get the same kind of enjoyment from competing in Halo towards the end. Roy, of course, when they retired, and then we have the retirement video, which we can show some of. But yeah, what did you think of your experience with Halo 5?
Yeah, I feel like Halo 5 just didn't cater well to Justin and I, in particular, with radar and automatics and stuff. I feel like, especially me, you know, it takes a lot of the skill out when you have radar, and you know, you don't have to make a heads up play because you can see the little red dot moving around. And yeah, there's crouch walking and stuff. But yeah, for me, I just feel like it took a long time to nail down decent settings, and at that point, we weren't picking from the top of the barrel a lot of times when trying to find a team. And not to disrespect any of our teammates, it's definitely, you know, we were teaming with who we should have been, but we didn't get that squad together that we were super confident in, I don't feel like, for a long time.
Yeah.
So, especially after Eric and Justin and I parted ways. But yeah, it just wasn't our best game, and our placings definitely showed that. So
yeah, you would keep kind of cycling through different players, and you couldn't find that right click. Like, I think you had Contra for Devonator, and you had tapping buttons. So yeah, it would just kind of keep switching. I think, yeah, the biggest thing was just the lack of an update, a competitive focus update, where they removed the ARs, they toned down the radar. And when it did happen, Roy was already checked out at the time that actually happened.
I think the first season of Halo 5, Justin was one of the best players in the game, honestly.
Right.
I feel like I was definitely not to where I needed to be. But definitely after that, after our Worlds 5th place, we ended up losing to Tox in the single limb championship bracket or whatever. So unfortunate for us too. We played the best team at the tournament in the first round. So I feel like we were probably, you know, the second best team, maybe third best team at that event, but ended up losing a game 5 to Renegades in pool play, which ended up screwing us. So
yeah,
looking back, it sucks, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, and big shout outs to Towie here. Tony, you can play the video in the background there, the goodbye video. Towie did an amazing job with this, and yeah, just unbelievable throughout. This is kind of I think his words at the end of it. One of the biggest things, or not biggest thing, but I noticed that Roy was just kind of bawling throughout. I mean, rightfully so. It was a very emotional moment. But you were doing okay. Look at you. You're keeping it together.
Yeah, that was well, I knew something was up because Towie's acting weird, and he had been acting weird for a while trying to get all these interviews, but he did this as like a secret, as a surprise for Justin and I. So it was one of the nicest things I think that anybody's ever done for me and Justin. But for him to put this amount of time and effort into it, and I think Justin was emotional too because he knew this was his last, or he thought this was going to be his last Halo event ever.
Right.
So it was definitely, yeah, it was super emotional for him. But I knew that I was going to be, well, I was still going to try and compete. So I ended up competing for 3 or 4 more events after this, but ended up stopping after that.
Yeah. Now, of course, you're so looked up to by so many people and respected by so many people. There were some amazing testimonials in that video. There was one moment I really liked. It was Ola when he shared his thoughts. Let's see what Ola had to say.
Yeah. Finally beat you later. Don't come back, please.
Honestly, just to be real, Lunchbox and I had a bond that it's really hard to describe. Him and I were really honestly best friends when we were teaming, and even after. We're not as connected as we used to be, but that's how it happens. Life gets in the way. But I'll still always love him, and obviously same with Justin, Roy. Love you, Jason. And obviously I love you too, Justin, but I love you, Jason.
It's the way they love you, Justin, but I love you, Jason. I like that. How long you guys been friends? You guys seem to go way back.
Yeah, Ola. Well, we started teaming with Ola in 2011, I think. So we knew him obviously before that, but that's when we really connected, and we put that God Squad team together. And Ola and I really just kind of hit it off, and yeah, we got to know each other really well and enjoyed each other's company. I feel like he's one of the coolest and most unique people that I've met in Halo. So that's a high compliment that I could pay for someone, because even now having the opportunity to team with him again was such a blessing for me, especially because, like you said, once we stopped teaming, it's hard to stay in touch in the Halo world for me, because you're competing against each other. So it's hard to maintain a super close friendship. Or at least it is for me, because like you said, life gets in the way, and I was working full time and trying to compete and stuff. It was just hard for me to invest a lot of time and keeping in touch with people. Well, not hard. That's just something I'm not very good at. So yeah, it was super nice to be able to play with Ola again, especially both him and Eric. But yeah, it'd been a while since we had the chance to team with Ola, and I definitely miss being around him and having conversation with him. He's such a he's a funny guy to have any conversation with.
Yeah,
Super smart too. Just he knows so much about just stuff you wouldn't expect him to know a bunch about. He just does his research, and yeah, he's a character.
See, this is what I want to know. I want Ola on the show so I can learn about all of this, his knowledge. And he's a funny guy. Like I'll listen to the Twitch and I'll hear some of his comments when he gets nice and relaxed and he's chilling. He just says whatever kind of comes to mind, and you see this hilarious side of Ola's personality. Or if you listen in the HCS Invitational, when they were playing those kind of side events where it wasn't really competitive, you can hear Ola kind of getting into it and having a fun time. It was great to see.
Yeah. That's another side note that those events that they played at the Invitational, the Big Team Battle, the Snipe Down versus Lethal, I feel like that's the content that Halo tournaments need in between either slow days for matches, or even if it's pre-recorded and you're playing it during breaks. That, to me, that's always been one of the biggest issues with Halo tournaments, is the breaks in between games. It's serious. Right. It's just, it's ridiculous how long it is. It's ridiculous for us. I can only imagine, can you imagine a 15-minute commercial break at home? This is kind of a side rant, but yeah, right. I think that was that tournament all event long just felt like they had something playing nonstop. The breaks were super short. Just ran really well in terms of the content that they were putting out for the viewers. So those events were super fun. The Big Team Battle one that we played in was a lot of fun. You don't get the chance to play in competitive Big Team Battle games very often. So
were you on Roy's team?
Yes, he was on our team. I was on
Gold the winning team.
Against
Walsh.
Yeah. We were on the winning team.
The stacked team. Yeah.
Eric maybe drew the short straw on that one. He was on the other team.
He was complaining from
Team
the start.
Walsh. Yeah.
Before it started, all I could hear is Snipe Downs. Like, we're talking about how poorly stacked the rosters were against us. It was fun. And I completely agree. I think that style of event, it needs to happen more. We've been talking about it. At least I've been talking about it with everybody since it happened, on just kind of that unique grassroots perspective and how Halo really just, it benefits from something like that. It really kind of shines when we can showcase all the other aspects of Halo that are so exciting, like Big Team Battle or like these kind of goofy modes and whatnot. And maybe have like an only sticks on Heretic, like FFA or something, sticks only. And there's just so much you can do. That would be a great time for the audience. And yeah, have less downtime in between games to keep things exciting. So completely agree there. Of course, following that, we had DreamHack as well. How was DreamHack for you? I know you won the HCS Invitational, which is amazing, but DreamHack, there was a little bit more competition. You had Fallen Esports coming in with a hell of a roster. What do you think of your performance there?
Yeah, I think DreamHack, we were kind of one step off all event long as a team, and we lost a lot of close series. We were down 2-0 to Falling Esports in the pool play, and ended up coming back and winning 3-2. Lost to Tox and some fairly close games, and then ended up losing to Falling Esports to get knocked out. But yeah, just definitely wasn't our best weekend as a team, and not much else to say. We definitely did not perform as well as we did in Austin as a team, and Tox definitely showed that they were the best team that event.
It was interesting, though, because you started off the day so hot versus Infinite. Like, you guys ran over Infinite. We were thinking you're going to make a huge comeback there. How did you feel coming off of that? Like, it just seemed like...
Yeah, we played... That was a really good series for us. I definitely don't feel like we got their best that series, though. So, in their defense with that score line, I mean, we 3-0'd them, but that was definitely not their best that we played there. So, for whatever reason, they were off as a team. So, yeah, definitely Falling Esports ended up beating us pretty good. So it was definitely I think everybody in our team left feeling like we could have played better. Maybe not as much individually as more as a team, but it happens.
Yeah, of course, there's more Halo 3 to come. There's Face It in London. It's a bit of a ways away. Do you guys think there's any chance you might be able to make it over?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. We're supposed to have a discussion about it, I think, this weekend. So, definitely. Well, I ended up retiring in Halo 5 when they announced the Halo 5 event over in London, but I wouldn't mind going back over there. So, me and my wife went on vacation there last year.
Nice.
To Harrison, London. So, it's a lot of fun over there. So, we'll see. We definitely need to talk about it as a team. It's a lot of traveling, and but it's a 2-day event, which is kind of nice for Roy and I, at least with work. It's definitely a good possibility.
Yeah, well, we'd love to see you there, man. And of course, as we get towards kind of the end point of the interview here, I also want to remind you guys in the chat, if you have any questions for Lunchbox, feel free to start asking those questions now. Let's have a quick chat about some of the recent ongoings in Halo. Of course, we have MCC PC. We had our release trailer for Halo Infinite, the Discover Hope trailer. What do you think of Halo Infinite so far? By the way, are you excited?
I'm excited for it, but we just don't have much to go off of yet. So I don't want to get my hopes up too much. But I just hope they take their time and release something that they are proud of and happy with, because nobody was proud or happy with how MCC came out on release. So and obviously they released Halo 5 and that didn't have any flaws off the release, at least not like MCC. But yeah, just making sure that everything is good with the release, no issues with that, because I mean that alone is what can just destroy a game off launch. It's completely kills the hype, and the big streamers aren't going to play it if they can't find games or the game doesn't even load. So, I mean, obviously, I don't think they would make that same mistake twice. But I'm just trying to keep a reserved, optimistic mindset about it. Definitely excited to see what they come up with. It seems like they've had quite a bit of time to work on this game now. So I'm hoping we see some new stuff, but sprinkled in with some of the old stuff that kind of made Halo as popular as what it was.
Right. I'm assuming you're a fan of the look and the sounds, and the music, and everything in the trailer.
Yeah. I think the trailer was sweet. You get the kind of the old school Halo music and Master Chief and whatnot. But Yeah, for me, for me, it's kind of all about the competitive 4v4 aspect of it,
course.
personally. So they gotta, that's gotta be good, or else, I probably, yeah, it'd be tough for me to grind. You can only grind campaigns so much, and
Yeah,
I haven't played the last couple campaigns in the Halo, so
yeah.
yeah.
You're right. Just because we saw the trailer and the look of that doesn't mean that feel could carry over to multiplayer. It could be a totally separate thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, the campaigns are always fun. I just, nowadays it just doesn't appeal to me as much as it used to. We used to grind the crap out of Halo 1's campaign and Halo 2, Halo 3, but anymore, I'm all about the competitive aspect. I guess I don't have as much time, so I try and do the competitive aspect.
And as far as the competitive side of things goes, do you think if they were to take it all the way back to, let's say, like Halo 3 mechanics, do you think that would be the best way to go, or should they try to find a middle ground somewhere? What are you thinking as far as
It's tough to say. I don't think that you can just. I don't think it's good to just take it back to kind of what Halo 3 was, because it gets stale fast if you're kind of reverting to what you did 12 years ago or whatever it was when Halo 3 released. So I think you definitely got to find a middle ground, because there was definitely some aspects of Halo 5 that were not, cool, interesting and stuff. But, to me, things like Clamber and stuff just kind of really noob up the game a little bit, if you will, with just, there's no skill in jumps anymore. You can miss a jump and then you're clambering back up to make the jump. And things like that. You don't get punished for mistakes as much with abilities like that. So things like thrusts and stuff, I don't feel like are necessarily bad if you can implement it in a positive way that kind of helps with gameplay, I guess, or makes it better.
Yeah.
I'm open for different aspects in the game. It just has to impact the game in a positive way, and things like Clamber I just don't think did.
Yeah, understandable. I think a lot of it's going to come down to hopefully having some sort of testing or a beta where you can give feedback, and hopefully that the communication there, happens quickly. There's a good conversation going on between what they give us and what we appreciate about it, and kind of if they can follow up quickly and make the necessary changes. But I do think that, yeah, maybe finding some sort of a sweet middle ground. They have to continue to innovate. They can't just, bring it all the way back. And like you said, there are some really cool things about Halo 5, like the thrust mechanic. I think that does have some value in the Halo toolkit, let's say. It could be used in cool ways. So we'll see what they do with it. And yeah, of course, we're going to be keeping a close eye on it when they release all of this information. Let's see what the chat has to say about stuff like this as well. Maybe they have some questions on these topics. We've got Joey Clutch in the chat at UGC. Does Lunchbox have a Halo rival? I think I already know who that would be.
A Halo rival, yeah. If I had to go with anybody, it would probably be Roy.
Yeah,
we never really played against each other in a serious tournament, but at least not that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, we're constantly competing with one another to do better in each and every game, and yeah, just it's a constant competition throughout our entire lives, no matter what we're doing, whether it's playing checkers or at work now as an electrician. You're always trying to be better than your brother.
Right. So kind of a different rivalry. Like you're on the same team, but still just pushing each other to improve and play your best. Maybe even whatever shows on the scoreboard or
exactly.
Certain plays. Yeah. Though, what would you say as far as a Halo rival that's not on your team? It's like
I would say the biggest one I probably had, well, in recent memory, was probably Kratos, just because he taught. He was he was always a talker. So
yeah,
I remember the one event we beat him, and I did the Degeneration X suck it to him. But yeah, he's probably the one that I could think of in recent memory. But it wasn't much. It wasn't that much of a rivalry. We weren't. Neither of us were really competing for first at that
right.
Moment in time. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of it. I guess Lethal, just when he left our team. But
right.
Yeah, I've always kind of got along with everybody. I guess when a teammate leaves, they become your rival for the next event at least.
Right.
Because you want to beat whoever either left your team or you drop. So, yeah, that's always been kind of my mindset. Just don't lose to whoever left or you dropped.
Yeah. Definitely sounds like you don't hold any kind of grudges or bad blood at any of the players. But that kind of reminds me, though, what happened to Kratos? Do you have any idea where he's at? Is he playing other games?
No, I've got no idea. I think he was trying to compete in Call of Duty, but I'm not sure how that's going for him. Yeah, I don't follow. I'm not a heavy Kratos follower.
True. Dillheimer says, will we get a Lunchbox return to streaming?
Yeah, that I was planning on doing it late last week and then ended up just not getting around to. Work's been super busy. This is a bad time, unfortunately, with work. We get super busy in the summertime because we get a lot of work for the university that I live near. But I'll definitely be returning or plan on returning to streaming, maybe sometime this week even. But yeah, definitely plan on it. Appreciate Dillyheimer is one of my followers and subscribers, so I appreciate you.
Awesome. Tez Coach, I think. Hopefully I got that right. Tez Coach, yeah. Lunchbox, how long did it take you to teach Towie how to juggle? I saw the old Towie juggling video, by the way, like way back at the LAN house.
Towie is a legendary juggler, but he's very hard to get to do it. Like, almost impossibly hard. There's only a couple videos out there probably of him juggling. Right. You got to get him real hyped up. You know, it takes about a good 10, 20 minutes, sometimes more of telling him how good at juggling is and how much everybody wants to watch him. And then he pulls off, the video that circulated there for a little while was the one at the Pinocchio's house.
Right, that's it.
Shout out to them. But he was juggling fruit or something.
Yep.
Like decorative fruit. But yeah, he competed at it when he was younger.
Okay.
He went to competitions for it, but he doesn't like to make that very known.
Oh no, did you actually find it?
Oh my god, this is it.
This is it.
This is it. Look at Tao.
You know, Towie's changed big time, man. He's
changed a lot.
Out.
Yeah.
This is it.
I don't remember who made it. This is probably Bravo that made this.
This is Bravo. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
It was incredible too, just as a side note, since there's no audio, what the Pinocchios put together
for sure.
Halo with all this, that to have this many people in their house, they fed us, they provided a place for us all to sleep and just grind Halo. I feel like that Halo 3 was some of the most competitive days of Halo because of that.
Absolutely.
We land multiple times for every event, a lot of times.
Yeah, and I keep bringing some of the interviews I have, I bring people back to this house often so that we can do like a tour and people can get a sense of just what the environment was like, because it looks like such a special experience.
Oh, it was just, I mean, it just made everybody even competing just that much closer, because you're not just playing against these guys, you're able to hang around them outside of the competition.
Yeah, he took his sweater off. This is getting serious.
He gets into it.
I think
this was probably 15 minutes of everybody, just haggling him to do it.
Yeah. And he does take a bit to get going, because I think you can tell, like, just kind of from his mannerisms, that he's not enjoying getting it started.
He was nervous as hell, I'm sure, in front of all these people too. He hadn't done it in a while. Look at him. Oh my god.
He's like, this is stressful.
Oh,
goes for the apples instead.
The oranges are a little too large. Cut her back.
It's like jump starting the lawnmower.
He used to be able to do like 8 or 9, I think, of like legit balls. These are, those little decorative fruits. I don't know how much weight or anything those have on them, but yeah, he was ridiculous.
The pressure right now.
I'm pretty sure I can barely do 3.
He gets going. I think it takes a couple of tries, and then he gets going, and he's on like a good run. Everybody's cheering, and then thank you, Tony, for grabbing that. That was a nice little.
Awesome. That was an awesome gem to find.
Yeah, jump back into the past there. It's Frosty DM. UGC, if you had the opportunity to team with someone else, who would you pick?
I guess the question would be currently, or just like in my career. I guess if there was, I would pick 2 people probably in my career that I never got the chance to team with. One would be Ogre One. I always wanted to put together a Twins team.
Oh, that would have been sick.
And I think that there was a chance of it happening in Halo 3, actually. I didn't know it at the time because Dan ended up retiring, but they had talked about it. And then Hines would be the other one. I never got the chance to team with Richie, and I mean, he was a staple in Halo, top for many years. So I think me and him would have meshed really well together on the same team. So.
Actually, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I can't believe that didn't happen.
I can't believe it never. Yeah, it's one of those things. I can't believe we never ended up teaming together. But
yeah, You seem to have a similar mind for the game, just from what I can get. But
yeah.
Phantom Snake says, any plans to play Reach if they switch and Infinite? Also, is there a PC tourney? If there's a PC tourney, will you play mouse and keyboard?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a chance that Justin and I would try and play Reach competitively. There's probably zero chance I will try and play on keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way that I'm going to be able to catch up to the guys that have been playing keyboard and mouse for this many years.
Right.
I also don't feel like there would be that big of a disadvantage for controller players in Halo against keyboard and mouse players, but I guess that's just speculation by me because we've never had to do it. But yeah, I think I would still be able to compete. Like I guess my mindset on that is how many battles do I get in where I'm getting four-shotted and I can't four-shot them, like I don't feel like in the battles where I have first shot, I'm not missing unless it's like a situation where they're jumping behind walls or it's a hard battle to fight. So, how can you get better than a four-shot with a controller? Like the keyboard and mouse isn't. I could see maybe sniping being a little crazier. Yeah, like pulling off crazier shots, but yeah, we'll see. It's an interesting question that I guess I don't know the answer to because I've never had to. We've never had to compete against a keyboard and mouse player. So
yeah, you are right that because of time to kill, if you are down a shot in the battle, then you could just kind of back off for that second. You don't necessarily need to take that full battle. If you're up the shot, then you're probably going to hit those shots regardless of mouse and keyboard or on controller.
Yeah.
One of the bigger things that I've been thinking is that on PC, you can change the frame rate and play on a 240, hertz display, and it's way smoother. So I'm wondering how that would come into play because I've noticed, like in Apex Legends, let's say if you're playing on controller on PC, but you're playing in 240 FPS, it actually is way smoother, and people are hitting a mate like this guy Nicewig that I saw recently plays for CLG. He's amazing on controller. Then you have people like Nick Merckx who are good at Fortnite on controller as well. So I mean, it's definitely possible, but they probably need to be playing on a PC rig where they can compete at the same settings. That's one of the bigger issues.
Yeah, I could see that, but yeah, I guess Nick Merckx would be the perfect example, and I think with him too, even he's at a level playing field in that he's been playing Fortnite since it came out, whereas any keyboard and mouse player that's coming over that hasn't played Halo or hasn't played it competitively, hasn't watched much into it, is at such a disadvantage, and just the aspects that go in competing with the best in Halo, in my opinion. But I could definitely be proven wrong in that. That's, I guess, just me completely speculating. But I think it's just just certain aspects of Halo you don't really have in other first-person shooters. So it's definitely a lot of. It'd be an interesting thing, I guess. We haven't had that anything to base our opinions off of with competitions or things that involve keyboard and mouse with Halo. So I'm definitely excited to at least see how it evolves, and I think the future of most competitive video games is on PC, with the few exceptions of maybe like Call of Duty and stuff. But
fighting games, really.
Fighting games, I guess, would be another good example. But yeah, I think definitely the PC is kind of where everything's going to, with just the graphics and everything like that. Everything is just better on a PC, and it'd be interesting to see though, for sure.
Yeah. And it's cool. Even with going back to the Nick Merckx thing, is he's kind of an example of, even though that there are clear advantages on mouse and keyboard as far as building, Nick Merckx just decides to play his own game. He doesn't try to compete with the crazy building speeds. He does, his own thing and gets in your face and hits his shots and plays his game, intelligently. And I find that even with Halo, if there are certain aspects that keyboard players might excel at, then, controller players can still adapt and play their game in intelligent ways to counter those types of things. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of a cool example with the Nick Merckx one. Crimson Frederick, how are you, Reciprocity, going to keep up with the Talk Squad?
I think just practice. I don't think they haven't dominated us in any of the losses. I don't think that we've had a lot of close games, and we pretty much go back and forth online. So it's not as if we need to go back to the drawing board, in my opinion, and change up everything that we're doing, because we lost him last event. So, like I said, just getting practice in before events and kind of fine tuning what we're doing wrong. But it's as it goes, when you're competing with the best, and I think we have a legitimate chance of winning any event, as well as probably 2 or 3 other teams, it could come down to just a few small mistakes that end up losing you a game. So, yeah, I don't. You definitely just have to all be playing our best in order to beat a team like that. But I definitely think it's the same way for them. They can't be slacking off against the top 2 or 3 teams either.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I do feel like you guys are very closely matched. It could just come down to who's playing better that day, whatever it is. Do you still feel like you have that competitive fire though? Back in Halo 3, of course, it was like your whole life. Nowadays, you're a busy guy. But when you get down to business, do you still feel like you have that same competitive drive?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much the only reason that I was willing to come back when Eric and I were talking about forming a team for Halo 3. So I definitely still have the competitive drive. I don't have the drive as much to play casually, I guess. I don't play it, that's why right now it's kind of a tough time for me to stream, because I don't enjoy. I guess I don't have as much time, and I don't enjoy as much as kind of running matchmaking for hours.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like I'm wasting away, because a lot of the games I'm not getting competitive games.
Yeah.
You just don't. I don't feel like I can improve when I'm playing in matchmaking with 3 people. We're not communicating and stuff like that. So yeah, I enjoy when I'm able to play with my team, scrim, and kind of play with people that I know and I can have a good time with, good conversation with. But
yeah,
I would say that's the main thing that's changed. Is I used to grind Halo 3 for hours and hours and hours in matchmaking by myself or with just one friend. But I don't find as much enjoyment with that anymore. The older I get, I'd rather be doing something around the house, fixing something or something like that. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. The competitive drive is definitely still there though for me.
Yeah. I respect that. I think that is one of the biggest things when you start to get older, you have more responsibilities, is that you can't just play without purpose anymore.
Exactly.
There needs to be some sort of an objective. Yeah, like as a kid, you just kind of aimlessly play all day, and it was a good time. But yeah, later you're thinking, I'm sure you got a million things on your mind that you could be doing if you're just playing social matchmaking. Or
exactly. There's always something to do around the house. You can't. That was the beauty of 2003 through 2000 and probably 11 or 12 when we I stopped playing the Halo 4s. That was my entire, that was my job. That was my life. I worked part-time jobs occasionally, but that was my main source of income. So I could play as much as I want whenever I wanted. So, and I did. I played as much Halo as probably anybody, or up there anyway. So, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It was some of the best times probably of my life, that just grinding the game and playing, meeting many different people and becoming friends with, a lot of guys, and yeah, a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. Descript says, what aspects would you say are better? What aspects would you say you are better than Roy at, and what aspects is he better than you at? Something we've kind of talked about a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that he was always probably skill-wise a little better than me with his shot and stuff. But again, I think in more than one Halo, he had the best shot of anybody. So I'm competing against the best in him. So. Yeah, and I think what I'm better at is pretty much everything else. No, objective and stuff. I feel like I was always kind of on another level than most people on, my flag runs. I feel like I've been one of the best flag runners in Halo. Just my knowledge of routes and stuff like that. I always feel like I made the right choice, or for the most part. Obviously, I make mistakes too, but and just knowing where to position myself and where to be on the map at what times, and when to challenge and when to stay alive, stuff like that. I feel like I just have a very good awareness in game.
Yeah.
And both our communication is pretty good. So yeah, I think just overall, I'd say my smarts are a little higher than his, and his skill was always a little higher than mine.
Yeah. And like your teammates would say, that's what gives them the opportunity to make those big plays, is the things that you are doing in the background. So last question, Rangar RK said, Lunch, can you tell Roy that you are the better twin one more time for the one time?
He already knows. One time for the one time. LBX better twin.
Well, Thank you, man. And thank you guys for the questions. Once again, guys, I appreciate all the Q&A in the chat. Thank you, Lunchbox, so much for joining me, man. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate I just want to give a shout out to the Reciprocity. They've been awesome to work with, and yeah, they do a very good job of making our lives easy, going to tournaments and stuff like that. So huge shout out to them.
Yeah, man, Rec's been killing it. Tons of fans, and we're just so excited to see more of you guys. So hopefully we get to see you at London and beyond, and hopefully the Halo hype continues. I know we got MCC PC, we got Infinite. We're all hoping for that comeback, and hopefully you guys are there at the forefront when it happens. But yeah, once again, man, thank you so much for joining me.
Yep, thank you. Have a good night, man.
You too. Have a good night. All right, guys, thank you again for joining us for this stream and this great interview we had with Lunchbox today. So much to talk about just from the past, the present, and now looking into the future of competitive Halo. Of course, I know a lot of you guys have been sticking around to the end so you can join that HCS Grassroots skin giveaway. Of course, you had to type !Grassroots in the chat to win the code. I think we have it. We do have it right here. It's Master Craigo SBR with the win. Congratulations. Enjoy your BR skin and nameplate, those goodies you can walk away with. Of course, you guys can also walk away with some merch as well. Tony, show the merch. We've got some hoodies, T-shirts, some great things that you can purchase here. Anything that you purchase supports UGC and supports me as well. And guys, as usual, I would highly appreciate that. Of course, that will close our show for today. Spotify. What about Spotify? We're on Spotify? Damn. All right. We are apparently on Spotify, which is amazing. I'm going to have to listen to that. I just found out literally this second. Make sure to check us out on Spotify, guys. You could also go to hcsweekly.com. You have the audio files there. You can listen to us on the go. You don't have to always be a viewer. You can, hit it up at the gym or when you're at school or on the travels. Anyway, just feel free to enjoy that. We will see you guys next week with more news, more trick jumps, more interviews. Have a good night.